Hey everyone, welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. My name is Hunter on this Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. A big storm system will bring significant severe weather to the United States this weekend, especially for Saturday. Damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes will be possible. We're also going to be looking at the long-range forecast heading towards Halloween and early November, and to look at your tropical weather update in this video. So if you are here, make sure to first and foremost like the video. We almost got to 1,000 likes yesterday. Would love to hit that today. Share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel because we cover Canada, the United States, and the tropics. So you know the weather forecast out your door each and every day. We do daily videos on this channel. Now let's look here at the severe weather risk for Saturday, October 18th, just a few days from now. And notice it's across portions of Arkansas, the Missouri Ozarks region, southern Illinois, extending into western Tennessee, into portions of Mississippi, extending back into northern Louisiana, northeast Texas. So a lot of big areas here at risk for severe weather as we go into Saturday. More on this in just a few minutes. But let's look here at our temperature trends through the rest of this week. A little bit more warmer than normal than what we should see here into the third week of October. And notice our high temperature normals are kind of lowering as we're going deeper into the month. So above normal will not be that hard to achieve, but just know that it's going to be above normal throughout the rest of the week. And in some cases, significantly above normal. You look to the north here, we are below normal by far. You can see into the 50s into North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Northeast as well. 60s, pleasant 70s across the Ohio Valley today and into the Mid-Atlantic. And then you notice the 80s and 90s the further south you go, and that will be a trend through the rest of this week as we have a little bit of return flow out ahead of a cold front. And in fact, we could be seeing some record high temperatures in the upper 80s, low 90s for areas like Memphis, down to Greenville, and even Jackson, Mississippi as we go into Friday. And then Saturday, we could be seeing mid 90s in south central Texas, San Antonio, Austin, over toward Houston. Going to be pretty hot there heading into Saturday, and then a cold front comes through this weekend, and that will scour out a lot of our spring and summer-like warmth outside of the Rio Grande Valley. Overnight lows are going to be at record warm low territory as well. We are watching as well some frost freeze risk for the Northeast and the Great Lakes region from Michigan all the way to Maine, especially for Thursday morning. Record warm lows, though, from portions of the I-80 corridor, Lincoln, Nebraska, Omaha, all the way back to the Front Range into eastern Colorado. And then as we go into Friday, record warm lows near 60 in the Twin Cities region of Minneapolis, St. Paul for Friday morning. And then as we go into Saturday morning, record warm lows near Peoria and into Jefferson City, Missouri. And then we see that cold front come through, and it will come through and definitely make its presence known by Sunday morning. Could be feeling like the 30s and 40s across the majority of the central U.S. as we start this day on Sunday. And now you look at the precipitation anomalies, and it does look to turn wetter as we go deeper through the week, especially getting towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday heading into the weekend. And we're going to be looking at the threat over the next few days of some thunderstorms transitioning from west to east. So for today, stronger storms are potentially in the cards from Rapid City down through Denver and into northern New Mexico. As we go into the day tomorrow on Thursday, it shifts just a little bit further east. We're talking about south central Nebraska, western Kansas, eastern Colorado now with a chance for some stronger winds and hail primarily. And then it transitions just a little bit further east as we go into Friday, October 17th, including more of the Kansas City area, Topeka, Wichita, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Stillwater, and then over there toward Woodward, Oklahoma. That is the area we're watching for potentially some strong winds, hail, and an isolated tornado threat heading into the day on Friday. Let's look at the eastern U.S. like we always do on a regional view. We'll look at the central U.S. next, then the western U.S. after that. Here at midday, we're seeing a mix of sun and clouds, probably more clouds than sun, though, across the Northeast. That will give way to mostly sunny skies as we go into the late afternoon and evening. We're going to see plenty of sunshine, though, across the southeast as we go through the day here today. And then as we go into the day on Thursday, a kind of return around the low pressure system that's spinning in the North Atlantic is going to return some cloud cover back into the Northeast, maybe even some precipitation, lower elevation rain, higher elevation snow for northern portions of Maine. The snow, though, won't be piling up too much even in the higher elevations. And then as we go through Thursday afternoon, a few high level clouds moving across the Great Lakes region there. Now looking at the central U.S., some higher level, mid-level, and low-level clouds. So an overcast sky is really starting to appear across the Dakotas, into Minnesota and Iowa, over into Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Maybe some sprinkles or showers out of that. Those should remain light. As we go into the overnight hours, some more organized rainfall across portions of Wyoming, into the Dakotas, and the panhandle of Nebraska are promised, and that could add up to a little bit of some measurable rain there. And then going through the day on Thursday, we're just going to see this low pressure system continue to churn out some rain across the upper Midwest here. The further south you go, you got more opportunity for some sunshine here, especially once you get down into the southern plains and the mid and lower Mississippi Valley region for Thursday. Now going into the western U.S. here on today, you can see a lot of precipitation moving across the Rockies. Higher elevation snow there in blue, lower elevation rain, and some of these storms could be stronger. We'll be watching out for some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail, and a very isolated chance for a landspout or a tornado. Keeping an eye on that as we go through the evening hours. That's when the low-level jet starts to increase out here into Wyoming and Colorado. And then we'll watch that again as we go into Thursday as that system continues to crawl eastward across the Rockies and into the central U.S. Looking here ahead to Saturday, again, October 18th is the day to watch for some significant severe weather. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center is confident enough for a slight risk, which on the risk scale is a 2 out of 5. The higher the number, the more likely chance for severe weather. So it's on the lower end of the spectrum. But again, it is still 4 days out, so this could expand. This could upgrade perhaps to a 3 out of 5 as we get closer. Big cities in the mix here. Paducah, Carbondale, Cape Girardeau, down here into Memphis and Clarksville, Tennessee, including here the Jonesboro area, Little Rock, and Fayetteville, all the way down into Pine Bluffs. We're looking at Tupelo. We're looking at Shreveport, Monroe, Texarkana, near the Dallas area, and then into the McAllister region and Fort Smith over there into Oklahoma and western Arkansas. So a lot of big cities in the mix here. Make sure you have your action plan in place, whether that's a NOAA weather radio if you're sleeping throughout the day on Saturday or even Saturday night, so you are alerted to any warnings that do pop up, because damaging winds, large hail, and even some tornadoes will be possible in this pattern. And we're going to look at that here. Our parent low pressure system will be up here into central and eastern Canada, into Ontario. A new low pressure system will form down into the Red River Valley. That will help to pump moisture northward. Dew points will be in the mid and upper 60s, and that is plenty moist enough to yield some weak, even moderate levels of instability as we go into Saturday afternoon, and coupled with a trough, right? You can see that neutrally tilted trough moving across portions of the central U.S., and that will provide lift for a storm to develop, and that could actually rotate because we got a low-level jet, and typically the low-level jet starts to increase late afternoon and then into the early evening hours, around and then thereafter sunset, and that's when the tornado potential will be maximizing as we go into Saturday late afternoon and into the early evening hours, say between 3 o'clock and about 9 o'clock typically is when that low-level jet starts to increase. So in general, we'll fine-tune this in the coming days, but Saturday morning could be seeing some ongoing storms from, say, Joplin down there towards the areas of Denton, Texas, for example. And then as we go into the afternoon hours, those storms will maintain intensity and actually get more intense as they push further east into that robust environment with that low-level moisture. Those dew points are going to be high. We're going to feel the warmth, and the temperatures out there are going to be into the 80s and low 90s, and that wind shear is going to provide a lot of rotation for the atmosphere for damaging winds and tornadoes, even some hail, and we're going to watch these line up and push further east as we go into Saturday afternoon and into Saturday evening. Overall, rainfall opportunities will be there across the central and eastern U.S. going through Monday morning on October 20th, and there could be some hefty rain, including parts of the Chicagoland, down here in toward Lexington, Dayton, Cincinnati, Nashville. There could be areas that see over an inch of rain. Some areas may see less, so we'll be keeping an eye on which areas get the rain and which areas don't. Higher elevation snows are promised across the Pacific Northwest. Some areas could get a few inches of snow, but the more robust snowfall will be taking place up to the north and west across western Canada and into Alaska. That's where we could be seeing some hefty amounts of snow in the order of feet across the western coastline of British Columbia into Yukon and coastal Alaska there. So be keeping an eye on that heading into next week. Speaking of next week, let's look at the long-range forecast for you to give you a diagnosis on what to expect heading in toward Halloween. Monday, October 20th through Friday, October 24th, trough moving in across the East Coast. A little bit of some ridging building across the central and western U.S. will promote some drier weather at times. times, and also a return flow again from the south, and will be warming us up near to above normal for what we should see in late October. And again, it's going to be a drier trend, I think, a little bit out west, but especially the southeast, where we're going to be drying out behind that front, a little bit wetter for the northeast as we head towards next week. And looking here at the northern hemisphere, we talk about the polar vortex a lot in the wintertime. Well, around that, we have the polar jet and also the extended Pacific jet stream that's going to be driving our weather pattern as we go toward Halloween and even into early November. And look how, how much of a juggernaut of a low pressure system and even a jet stream this will be as we go into late October. And you can see it extends all the way down towards the Aleutian Islands there, and then past the Aleutian Islands toward the Pacific Northwest. That will help to give us some larger scale storm systems heading into early November that could be more on the frequent side. So as we go towards Halloween, notice we get these ups and downs. We get the ridge of high pressure, couple days of sunshine, we get another robust trough and low pressure system here with that jet stream. Then we start to rebound again. We see another one after that, and that just kind of continues really through Veterans Day on November 11th or 12th there. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that, even going into Halloween, but even early November for those frequent storm systems. And look how it affects our temperatures. There's going to be a lot of ups and there's going to be a lot of downs with this. So frequent temperature fluctuations as we go into late October and early November. Some could say this is a very volatile weather pattern heading into that time frame, and it will be, right? We're going to see a lot of moisture overspreading the Pacific Northwest, southern Canada, and the drier areas of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and the Northeast are going to start to get more active as we get into especially early November. So take note of that. And also, we are getting into November now with what we're talking about. So that means higher elevation snow is going to become more frequent across the Pacific Northwest. We're talking about you in the Cascades and the north central Rockies there, really Colorado on northward, keeping an eye on that as we go through at least the 5th or 10th of November. Now let's look here at the tropics. We have Tropical Storm Lorenzo that continues to avoid land, and that will be the case as this system is a fish storm. We look at the Pacific side and we have a 60% chance, so a likely chance of a tropical depression or a tropical storm developing near the Mexico coastline and then kind of paralleling the Mexico coastline over the next 7 days. And we're going to be keeping a close eye on both of these. So we look here at the Atlantic, not really a lot happening. Lorenzo is out of our hair. We are watching some lowering of the pressure in the Caribbean here in the long range, but no big signals of a hurricane or a major hurricane at that. We look at the East Pacific and there are signals of a stronger system, perhaps a tropical storm, maybe even a low-end hurricane developing here over the next 7 days. And we'll be watching this as this could parallel the coast of Mexico as we get in towards late October. Now we look at the long-range outlook for the tropics, and the Climate Prediction Center is right on with this, right? The East Pacific is going to be pretty active. The Central American gyre, we're going to lower the pressure near Central America, near the Yucatan, and then those systems are going to push westward into the East Pacific and parallel the coast of Mexico. This could bring some direct impacts to Mexico as far as heavy rain is concerned and some strong winds. But other than that, we're going to be keeping an eye on the Western Caribbean as well for any homegrown activity that could play a role in impacting the U.S. through the rest of this month. Other than that, a lot of the systems into the central Atlantic will be curving out to sea per climatology. That's typically what happens in mid and late October. If you do enjoy my forecast, make sure to like the video. Would love to hit 1,000 likes today. Share the video with a friend, a family member, and on social media. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We give you the accurate weather information here on this channel. If you did find it informative for you, helpful, life-saving in any way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And when you do, turn that subscribe button on to all so you get all my post notifications for all my videos and live streams that I do post on my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support, everybody. And I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe rest of their Wednesday out there.